New here, welcome. I'm recording from my bed again, so y'all know this is going to be tea. That means I had to get it out before I actually got up and got my day started. But if you're new here, my name is Ty. I am a manifestation mentor, energy alchemist, spiritual oracle, heavy on the spiritual oracle. Make sure you grab your Passenger Princess to God guide. That is truly going to teach you how to tap into what we have been tapping in with the remembrance and taking it to another level. But if you've been here, we have been doing a I Remember challenge, which is us treating our manifestations as a memory, which we're on day 8. And this has already evolved beyond manifestation, beyond thinking of our manifestations as a memory. But I got this download, I want to say yesterday. So I wanted to share. I've meditated on it and I wanted to really share as it'll really explain why we practice certain manifestation techniques. Specifically, we're going to be talking about why we practice SATs the way God gave me the download. So I have my notes and I'm going to read from my notes because it was so good and I don't want to miss anything. So, I know we have been in our kingdom of heaven. I want y'all to know when we say I remember, that is the keys to your kingdom of heaven. It's like a secret password. Once you've acknowledged that you remember yourself as source, and the way God gave it to me, if y'all checked out my post, it's really about us being like a grain of salt in the desert. That grain of salt from the desert does not stop being the desert. It's still part of the desert, but it come from the wholeness, the goodness, the oneness of desert. So that's how God was showing me how we are each moment in time, each of us are like a grain of sand from oneness, from the all. But it doesn't mean we're not the all, but we collectively make up the all. So I trust that that makes sense. And it was just such a beautiful revelation. So I'm sure that's going to be evolving and expanding as we go on this journey. But let me go into day 8 and the title of this video being the hologram. And the way God showed it to me has been chef's kiss. So I'm going to start with the Bible verse and then we're going to kind of talk about it and break it down. So the Bible verse was Deuteronomy 8:18, and I hope I'm saying that right. And it reads, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms his covenant in which he swore to your ancestors as of today." And the way that I had interpreted that verse was, remember when we talked about remember, so it's not even a coincidence how the verse started off by remember. So it was saying, remember yourself as God consciousness. This is how you obtain wealth is by remembering your power. Like that was so good. Like remember he God is who gives you wealth, but it's saying remember God consciousness. That is how you obtain wealth. That is how you abide in God's goodness, God's love. This is how you're going to really, I want to say manifest wealth, but it's not even manifesting. It's simply that I remember, like you're remembering that you've always been wealth. And it's so funny. Oh, let me tell you about this little trippy experience that I had. And this is going to be going back into that remembrance challenge and treating life as a memory. So for me, this week has shown me how time is such an illusion. I know we talk about that. We talk about how time is an illusion. I even said that's one of the rules for doing this I remember challenge is accepting that time isn't real. So when I had said that, not really necessarily knowing where that was going to take me, so this week I have been having the most trippy experiences with time, meaning that like time has seemed like it has sped up like times 100, y'all. I know sometimes we joke like, oh, it's Monday, I can't believe it's Friday. But no, that's literally how my week went. Like it was Monday and I just remember me being into Friday. And I was like, the days in between, I was like, I don't even really remember those days at all. So that is God was like, because you're only existing in this moment. The only moment that ever will ever exist for you is this moment. However, we have the illusion that time tends to be linear, like, oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And God is like, no, you can be on Monday and then be on Friday. Like time, the in between doesn't matter. Time is an illusion. So let's go back to the treating this as a memory. So I know we've been practicing the I Remember Challenge, treating your manifestations as a memory, operating in radical faith and radical self belief. So this was a triple experience I had with time outside of the Monday and Friday thing. Was I was in the middle of getting laundry out. And for those who don't know, like I'm divorced, like I've been divorced for a few years now. And as I'm getting the laundry out, let me try to explain this. Me, the avatar, knows that I'm divorced. Like I already know that I'm living my life as a divorced woman. But all of a sudden, I had the memory that I was divorced. It was like two separate instances. Like I had the memory that I was divorced, like, oh, I'm divorced. But I simultaneously already know that because I'm living it. And that is the way how God was telling me how time works and how I remember works. It's like if you're calling in, say you're calling in your millionaire identity, you simultaneously already know you're a millionaire because you're living it, and then you randomly have the memory like, oh, wait, I'm a millionaire. Like that is how time works. That is how you're going to really experience your manifestation or really tap them into the now, is remembering like you're living it, but you're also simultaneously remembering it. And I trust that makes sense. I know that can be a trippy thing to understand or grasp because time being an illusion is just trippy within itself, because us humans as avatars tend to operate on linear time. But God has been showing me that time is not linear at all. It's not even close to anything our brains could really comprehend as time. Hey, beautiful goddesses. So I know I had steered off, but that was the point. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. Remember, if you're doing this I remember challenge, time is an illusion. All of this is technically an illusion, but time is really an illusion. So going back to the hologram and that accepting that God consciousness is really how you create wealth, is accepting that creation is finished, living in God consciousness, and knowing that God is the one that's creating wealth for you by focusing your attention. It goes back to whatever you don't want to experience, don't give it your attention. Whatever you want to experience, give it your attention. Why we say we don't entertain what we don't want to experience, because that God consciousness, remembering yourself as God, is truly how you're going to experience what you desire to experience, because you know that creation is finished, you're operating in radical faith, and you're moving as such. All of it's connected. And I know that it can be so, I don't know, challenging to grasp until you experience it yourself. But run this video back, run the other videos back, as they all like lead up to the same thing. So with it being a hologram. Okay, so we talked about time being an illusion. I gave you that example. Talked about tapping into God consciousness. That's really how you're going to create. And now talk about how all of this kind of relates to it being a hologram. Okay, so I want y'all to think about everything that exists in the world, like your TV, your house, whatever. All of this exists within your mind. This is one of the trippiest things. It goes back to that I remember thinking how everything we treat it as a memory, and this is going beyond. I know we started this as manifestation, but this is going beyond that. This is really tapping into the quantum. I want y'all to really pay attention to this. Okay, so all of this exists inside your mind. And I say this because for me, I am sitting in my bed looking out my window, my floor to ceiling windows, and see greenery. And for me, I'm here right now in this moment. It's so trippy me trying to explain this to y'all, and I'm not even high or anything, but I'm trying to explain this to y'all. So I'm sitting in my bed, I'm looking at the window, and it's like greenery and the highway. And for me, when I say it's a holograph in your mind, because for me, that represents peace. So my mind created this because it represents peace for me. So this is why my mind, the hologram, created this particular moment, why I decided to move in this place, because for me, this is representing peace. But at any given moment, you can choose a different representation. This is why I say it's a hologram. And we sometimes feel like we're stuck or trapped or operate on linear time. Like, oh, I'm here now, and then I have to do these things to get to the next thing. It's like, no, that's you operating on linear time. I want you to play with your mind movie, play with your mind projection, and really sit into that. This can be challenging because it tends to take focus. This is why we practice SATs. That's why I was going with this. This is why we practice SATs for manifestation. It's not that you need SATs as a technique to manifest. However, it does train your mind to automatically see certain things as what it represents for you. So let me explain this better. So we use sats, like say I know we've been doing a 3 second sat. So whatever your 3 second sats is, you don't need that 3 second sat scene to manifest. However, it's training your mind to see what you desire to experience. So I trust that that makes sense. It's saying that whatever you desire to experience, whatever piece is for you, you don't need that set scene to create it in your 3D reality. However, you do want to practice. That's why we're doing it, because if you're not automatically trained to know whatever you desire to experience is going to project, you want to practice it. E- Nobody became an expert. So this is something that somebody said to me or I heard, is any expert only became an expert because they practiced. So I want y'all to think about that. Don't think about, oh, I'm doing these manifestation techniques because I need them. No, but you need to practice until you become an expert, until that you know that you can operate at the end of creation without any manifestation techniques. Use them. This is why we use SATs. And I feel like we're using SATs specifically because it's creating a mind movie. It's changing the hologram for you. It's changing your internal state so that it can be projected externally. And if y'all even think of the words that we use, how we say, oh, you have to shift internally, or whatever your internal is, your 3D is going to reflect that, because it's a projection, because it's a hologram, because it goes back to that God consciousness and remember yourself as God. It's literally all connected. But in order for you to change the 3D, and I say the 3D, really meaning the hologram, is where is your attention focused internally in your mind movie? Where is that attention focus? And so that we can truly focus it, that is why we're doing SATs, because we want to focus your attention on what you actually desire to experience. That was so much, y'all. That was so much, but God really, I had to get it out and explain it the best way I know how. So let me know if y'all have any questions. Let me check my notes. And I'm going to recap this because I know that was a lot to digest. Like, when God gives me, that's not even another download God gave me. Like, I've been getting so many downloads, I feel like every minute. But whenever God tells me to share which ones to share, that's why I'm sharing it. So we're going to recap because I know that that was a lot to digest. Me saying it felt like a lot to digest. So to recap, hey, beautiful, to recap. The 3D is simply a hologram. It's a projection of your mind movie. And we want our 3D, the hologram, to truly reflect what we desire to experience. So I was saying, for me, when I look out my window, I see beautiful greenery, the highway, because internally I am at peace. And that is what peace is represented for me in the 3D. That is my hologram. But at any given moment, you can change the hologram by remembering your power as God. It goes to that Deuteronomy 8:18 where it says, but remember, underline that word remember, the Lord your God, for he is who gives you the ability to produce wealth. God gives you the ability to produce wealth, meaning God gives you the ability to step into your power, to control your mind, to create your mind movie, to use that sat scene to really change the hologram to produce the wealth. If you want to call the 3D wealth for you, I feel like once you get to a certain point, the 3D literally won't even matter because you know that it's just a reflection of who you're being. So if you're calling in that millionaire identity, this is why I say practice that 3 second SATSI, because I want you to truly train your mind to project what you actually want to experience in the 3D. Goes back to we don't entertain what we don't want to experience. So if y'all start treating this 3D, this matrix, as what it is and really just shift internally. I feel like this is why we talk so much about why the internal is so important, because the internal is truly going to reflect your 3D. I know you, the avatar, think that the 3D is all there is. This is the true reality, but it's not. The 3D is simply a reflection on who you're being. And if you are being a peaceful person, I guarantee your 3D is reflecting that peace, because you're not going to entertain what you don't want to experience. So anything that's not peaceful, I promise you, you won't entertain it because that's not what you're calling into experience. So again, we're doing this I remember challenge to really remember our manifestations as already being done, but it's going beyond that. I want you to remember that you are already in God's love. You are already in God's grace. You are already in your kingdom of heaven. It's simply a remembrance, and you remembering is exercising your power. And your power is going to be radical faith. Like, I'm really breaking it down for y'all so y'all don't have to question, like, oh, well, what's my power? Your power is radical faith and radical self belief. It's not entertaining the BS if you don't want to experience it. Why are you even giving it your attention? Stop doing that. So, to really operate in your power, operate in God's love, accepting that you are literally a grain of salt of the divine. You're literally a grain from the divine. Like a grain from the desert is still the desert. You are still the divine, and collectively, oneness, you're making up all of these experiences. But you have to be willing to accept this as truth for you. So again, you can listen to this, digest it, but if you're not practicing it, this is literally what this whole video is about. If you're not practicing or exercising your power, it's a waste. Because to become an expert, you have to practice. Don't think, oh, well, I'm going to manifest this and that, and you haven't practiced anything ever. What makes you think you're going to even accept that you're that powerful? I know that y'all think, let me see how to say this, because I don't want to say everybody. But some people think, oh, they come into manifestation. I'm going to manifest all these millions now that I know about manifestation. But you haven't even been practicing with the little stuff. Everything takes practice. Don't compare your journey. Don't compare your day one to somebody's day 500. It's not a comparison journey. The only person you need to compare this to is yourself. You are your only competition. So don't think, oh, this person did this or manifestation don't work for me because I saw this person with this. You don't know what day they're on. You don't know how much practicing they've been doing. And this is your journey. That is one thing I know I talk about. Enjoy the journey. You are on your own journey to remember. This is why I say take what resonates and leave the rest, because everybody's on their own journey. Y'all don't know what day I'm on. I don't know what day you're on. So my faith may be different from yours, but if you are doing this challenge with us, it doesn't matter where you're starting, as long as you accept that this is your power. As long as you use the secret password, which is I remember. You don't have to do anything. Like, it's simply just you remembering. And I promise you, you'll have your own revelations. Like, you can take my revelations like a grain of salt, literally. You'll have your own experiences, your own revelation, and it will mean something different for you. I'm simply speaking on my own experiences, and you take what resonates and leave the rest. But I promise you this, when you're doing this challenge, it's going to go beyond manifestation for you. I feel like the peace that I have, the knowing that I have, the only prayer I've been saying is thank you. But again, we're on different parts of our journey. So I'm literally like, for me, I'm literally in a space where I'm not manifesting anything. I don't even feel like I think of my desires because I know that creation is finished. And I just simply start everything with God with a thank you, because I know my power. I know that creation is finished. I trust God's love, and that is enough. I feel like throughout this whole journey thus far, not even just the I Remembrance Challenge, just y'all watching my journey, I feel like learning to trust God's love has changed my life. And the fact that I now can acknowledge that, like, before, I don't even know how to say that. Like, before I was thinking doing these things and operating in faith was really what the answer was. And it goes back to no, like, the answer was literally just trusting God's love. Like, literally having the proof that God has came through for you 100% of the time, and living in that love. So for me, that is where I'm at. But again, I'm on a journey. I ask God to use me as a vessel. So as being used as a vessel, I'm going to speak on the knowledge that I get. And it's so funny because the revelations that I've gotten now has, let me see how to say this. Like, I felt like I just want to like live it versus speaking on it. And the guy was like, no, we talked about this. You're already a spiritual oracle. Like, you've already a vessel for the divine. So you're going to use this knowledge to truly teach others. Like, I love it. But when you are in it, it's like, I just want to be, I don't know, like, I just want to be peace. Like, I'm just here good now. And I've just been enjoying each moment. And it goes, I don't know. I'm trying to tell y'all, like the June bloom. I know we was talking about the June bloom, and what that has been like. This June bloom has been beyond anything that I can imagine. Like, I thought it was going to be about manifestation, physical things, but the peace that I have, the way that I enjoy life, the way that everything just seems like it's glowing to me, like it is beyond anything that I can put into words. And that is one of the, I think, the most difficult things on this journey is that I speak to y'all and I'm expressing it the best way that I can, but none of this truly and fully captures the essence of what I've experienced, like in God's love, in God's grace. Like, I hope that it resonates with y'all. I hope that y'all are absorbing it, and I'm sure your soul is going to absorb it. But the words aren't enough. Just it comes down to that. The words aren't enough. But anyway, feel like I rambled. But that's what it is. I want y'all to run this video back to truly accept the hologram in it. Truly practice on changing your 3D reality by shifting internally, by practicing stats. I want y'all to practice y'all 3-second stats because that is how you're going to shift your external world. And I know a lot of y'all think the external world is what's important, but as you're on this journey, you'll see that the internal, how you feel internally, surpasses anything. Like, it don't matter where you are, what you experience internally will truly surpass anything. And I know for me, that's where I'm at. I'm like, it doesn't matter where I physically live in the 3D because the peace that I have within is beyond anything the 3D could ever give me. And I'm sure that's what God was trying to teach me this whole time. But anyway, remember, we do not entertain what we don't want to experience. I just explained this entire video on why we're not doing that. So do not entertain what you don't want to experience. Be a passenger princess to God. That has truly changed my life, was becoming a passenger princess to God and remember my power and God truly showing me what that true power is. So enjoy your journey. Don't rush. There's nowhere to rush. There's nowhere to go. So enjoy your journey. You are ever expanded. And I promise you, whatever you desire to experience in the 3D, once you experience it internally, it will manifest for you. And I'm teaching you along this journey how to shift internally. Use that radical faith and radical self belief. If you don't want to experience rock bottom, if you want to skip all those middle steps that I've already experienced for you, I'm telling you the fastest, greatest way to get to your desired reality is going to be radical faith and radical self belief. All you have to do, you have the keys. All you have to do is remember, type I remember. All you have to do is truly tap into your own remembrance. You're on your own journey though. So do not compare your journey to mine. So if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine. That's not where you are on your journey. So don't feel like you have to experience what I experienced or someone else experienced. You're on your own journey. And as always, I'm happy, I'm blessed, I'm free. Y'all, bye.